welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite 3-star reads. I did a video like this where I talked about my favorite 4-star reads, and I'm planning on doing like every one of these, like 5 stars, 2 stars, 1 star. So today I'm going to talk about some of my favorite 3-star reads. I did have quite a lot, so I needed like to pick out a few, and I'm very excited to talk about them. Some of them I've been talking a lot about already, and some of them I don't think I've talked too much about, so I'm very excited. I have quite the stack here, and let's just get into it. The first book I want to talk about is Feral Youth by Sean David Hutchinson. Sean David Hutchinson is an author that I love. I fell in love with him almost around the time, well, a little bit after I started booktube. I read his We Are the Ants and I completely fell in love. Then I picked up this one and I loved it just as much. I have quite a few of his books on my wish list, and I have only read this once and it's been years, so I might reread it and I might actually change my rating. You know, I gave this 3 stars that time, but I would love to reread it and revisit it, so see if my feelings have changed or whatnot. But I did really enjoy it. So in here we have a couple of kids, teens, that come all together at a camp, like a wilderness camp that teaches teens compassion and cooperation, and kind of like a camp that you send your kids away to teach them like a lesson. Like they're troubled teens, I guess, basically. And they all come together at this camp. All of these teens come from different parts of life, different parts of the country, and they have literally nothing in common. And they come together at this camp to learn about themselves, to learn about life. And I thought it was a really cool and beautiful story. I love the camp setting. I think I have a reading vlog on this one way back where I said that I love camp settings. I read another book where it was like this mental health camp. I loved it. I don't know why, just something about all of these teens slash kids coming together from different parts of life, and they literally have nothing in common except they're all here and they are about to experience something together. And it's just really good and inspirational book in my opinion. His writing style, I love him. I love this author. I can't wait to reread this, probably in the summertime, because I feel like that's the mood. But yeah, they come together at this camp to learn about each other and learn about life, and to kind of turn their lives around, because they are here for a reason. They are here because they messed up or they have taken a wrong path in life. So yeah, definitely a heartbreaking, like a kind of a hard story, but also important and inspirational in my opinion. So if you are like me and you love camp setting, you love teens coming together to learn about life, to learn about themselves, then I definitely recommend this book. The next book I'm going to talk about is Daughter of the Pirate King by Trisha Levenseller. It wasn't a long time ago that I read this for the first time, and I have a reading vlog on it, I believe, and I fell in love with it. The reason that I gave it 3 stars because I loved it is because I do believe it is a little bit for a younger audience. I mean, this has been around for a long time. I just haven't picked it up until recently, and I adored it, but I think it is for a younger audience, and I would have adored it even more if I was a little bit younger, because I loved all of it. But it is for a younger audience, and you could tell that in the writing style and in how it was portrayed. So that's why I give it 3 stars, but I loved it. In here we follow Alosa, who is the daughter of the Pirate King. She's a female badass lead, and I love her so much. She is sent on a mission to find like this map that is supposed to relieve a hidden treasure on the ship of her enemies and her father's enemies. So she gets kidnapped to this ship. What the enemies doesn't know is that she wants to get kidnapped, and she's planned this all along, how she's gonna escape, how she's gonna receive the map, and the enemy ship doesn't know that. They believe that they kidnapped her and she was not a part of it. So we follow Alosa as she is on her enemy's ship all alone, trying to find this map that is supposed to relieve a hidden treasure. We also, what I loved about this, we had a slow burnt romance going on, and you know, enemies to lovers kind of thing. I love pirates, so if you do, you definitely will like this. I love Pirates of the Caribbean. I don't know what it is about pirates that gives me all the good vibes, and you have that in here. You have a female badass lead, you have a little bit of a love story, but most of all you have Alosa trying to fight for what she believes in, and it's just really great. I loved it. It does have a sequel that I really want to pick up. I just haven't gotten to it yet. The next book I want to talk about is Credence by Penelope Douglas. So this also I didn't read too long ago, and I think I have a vlog on it. I was very hesitant about my rating for this one because part of me enjoyed it, and then a part of me was like, what is this? So if you don't know what this is about, We follow Tiernan, who just lost her parents to suicide, and that's not a spoiler because it literally happens right away. So, and she's like just months from turning 18, so she's technically a child and can't be on her own. So she gets sent to live with her uncle that lives like far away in the forest in Alaska, or no, I don't know if it was Alaska, but like in the forest, far from civilization. And he also has two sons that are, I can't remember the ages, but I think one is 21 and one is 19 or something like that. So like about her age. And they are technically her cousins. But what's important to know if you're going into this, like they are not blood related. They are, it's like her step uncle, because they're not really blood related. Just know that. So, you know, Tiernan is obviously really feeling all the feelings because she just lost her parents. Even though they didn't have a good relationship, she's obviously hurting a lot. And I think she's just looking for comfort in the wrong places, because what happens is that, you know, she comes to live with her uncle and her step cousins, and one after one, you know, they are all kind of interested in her, and you have like a steamy romance thing going on, which I know is weird, but also what is important in this one is you have to like separate fiction from reality. So obviously it's fiction, it is steamy, it's hot, but it's also kind of weird, and definitely it's not an epic romance. It's more of like steamy hot moments that's happening. So, but it was kind of fun to read though. Like you were laughing and I was like, what is this? So like I don't regret reading it, but I don't think it is for everyone. I don't. It was just very weird and special and unique that, you know, all of these three guys were interested in her and she just kind of went along with it, you know. Just if you want to know more, then you just have to read it, because I don't want to tell you guys too much. But a fun, unique, weird, a little bit disturbing story, but you know, it's Penelope Douglas. I love her. The next book I'm going to talk about is Fallen by Lauren Kate. So I am so late to this party because this is obviously kind of an old one and I just recently read it. I loved books like this when I grew up, like Twilight, Vampire Academy, Beautiful Creatures. So I would probably have given this a 5-star if I would have read it when I was younger, but I read it when I was 21. I'm 21. And it is a bit for a younger audience, I think, but I still had really fun with it. But I think that's why I gave it 3 stars, that, you know, you can just tell it's for a younger audience and you can tell by the language and the writing style and all of that stuff. But I really still enjoyed it. It really reminds me of a mix of Twilight and Beautiful Creatures, I would say. So if you enjoy those, you'll definitely enjoy this one. So we have this boarding school where kind of not troubled kids go to, but kind of in a way. And then Lucinda comes, is a new girl, just like in Twilight. She's the new girl, everyone's kind of interested in her, you know, a new girl, new face. It's all very interesting. And soon enough, Lucinda is very captured by this guy, Daniel, that goes to school. He's tall, he's handsome, he's mysterious, he's just very different. And Lucinda soon discovers that this school isn't a normal school. It has secrets, it has hidden secrets, it has a lot of things she wasn't prepared to. And she and Daniel kind of have this connection and she can't explain it. She can't explain why she feels like she knows him and why it feels like they have history together, even though she can't remember it. So it's definitely one of those typical new girl and then this long, mysterious, handsome guy, and to have this special connection and something supernatural is going on. So definitely Twilight vibes, the Vampire Diaries vibes even. So if you love that, you will have fun with this one. I had a really good time with it. I laughed. Even though it was for a younger audience, I had a great time with it. So the next book I have is Salt to the Sea by Ruta Septis. This is a World War II historical fiction. It is set in the winter of 1945. And we follow 4 teenagers that all come from different countries in Europe. And they have this one thing in common, and that is to survive this war and to be able to live again after this horrible things happening. And you get to follow each and every one of them's perspective. It's really interesting to have a dual perspective. That's what I love about these books, especially in historical fiction. You need that. I love that. It is heartbreaking, it is really sad, it is a difficult topic, you know, it is, but it's also really important to know your history, I believe, and it's just really beautiful at the same time as it's sad. And you follow these 4 teenagers as their life story and how they handle it and how they cope with it, and it's just really beautiful and heartbreaking. This was actually my first historical fiction. I can't wait to read more. I have a couple on my wish list, but be aware of that it is a hard topic. It is so interesting, but also really hard to read at times. Just be aware of that. I think you guys know already, but sometimes it just grips you. You weren't prepared for it, and you're just like, wow, you know? So if you're looking for a historical fiction, a World War II historical fiction, I definitely recommend this. It was a really, really good and important read in my opinion. The next book I'm going to talk about is Pet Sematary by Stephen King. So I really enjoyed this book. It was very, very dark, which I think was just, I was prepared for it, I guess, but it was just so dark that it left you in like a state of darkness and like a little bit of depression feelings. No, I don't really know, but it was very dark, just be aware of that. But it was really interesting too, and so unique in my opinion. We follow this family of 2 kids and then mother and father that moves into this house kind of more in the countryside. They are coming from the city, moving into the countryside, and the father works as a doctor and he has a new job there and everything. And at their street, like, they are befriending the neighbor, and the neighbor is telling them about the pet cemetery that is just like up on the street right in the forest between like their houses, and how the pet cemetery is very famous. A lot of people have buried their pets there for ages, and you kind of know it's going to be something about it, but you don't figure it out immediately. It just seems like an ordinary pet cemetery. And then weird things starts to happen. We have the father, the doctor, when he's working, he has something really weird happening with a patient. And then they also have a cat whose name is Church, which also is a very important character in here. And since that's not common, you don't really follow the cat of the family a lot. So I knew he was going to be an important character, and he is. Weird shit is going on with the cat. And then something happens to another of the family members. I don't want to tell you guys too much. And when that happened, when a certain thing happened, I was just like, should I put it down? Because I'm starting to feel bad. Like, it's so dark that I'm going crazy, you know. But it was just so dark. So after I read this, like, I really needed to read something comfy and cute and cozy. And, you know, yeah. And we mainly follow the father, I would say. The father is like the main character that's kind of trying to do stuff that he shouldn't do with the pet cemetery. And yeah, it talks a lot about death. A lot about dead people, dead animals, death. Just be aware of that. So it was very dark, but it was very unique and odd and interesting. So I'm definitely not mad I picked it up. Not my favorite Stephen King book. I know a lot of people say that this is their favorite Stephen King. It's not mine, but I'm really glad I read it, and I think it was an interesting book. Yeah. The next book I'm going to talk about is Challenger Deep by Neil Schusterman. So I picked this one up quite a while ago. I read it because of the cover, and then I've heard great things about it. It is a mental health contemporary kind of story. We follow Caden, who is struggling with schizophrenia, which is a very interesting mental illness, I think. I'm very fascinated by mental health and mental illnesses, so I've read a lot of them, and I'm really glad I read this. So we basically follow like his mind, basically. And you have to know, like, when you're going into this, that you have to know that it's about this boy and his schizophrenia, because or else I don't think you will understand, because you follow his mind kind of as it is scattered and all over the place and living different lives, just as one with schizophrenia would. So really, really interesting and a unique concept. I've never seen something like this before, where you actually get to really follow the mind of someone with schizophrenia and how he sees the world differently, like how he sees the world from his eyes living with this disease. And it's just really interesting. And if you're interested in the subject like I am, definitely pick it up. Or if you're just really looking for a gripping story about this, so freaking cool and interesting, and I really want to reread it because it's been a while since I've read it. So yeah, and I really like Neil Schusterman's writing style. I want to read more of his books. I just think it's something about the writing style, just truly beautiful. The next book I'm going to talk about is A Quiet Kind of Thunder by Sarah Bernard. This one is one book that I've had on my bookshelves forever, and a while ago I finally decided to pick it up. It's just been sitting on my shelves forever. I never really been interested in it until recently. We basically follow a guy that can't hear and a girl that doesn't speak. and they kind of meet and kind of gets to know each other and have this connection because of that. I love the representation, first of all, because I don't feel like we see that enough, and also how they don't really have any friends, and they don't have any really that understands what they're going through, and then they kind of meet each other and they kind of get this connection because of what they are both going through. And it's really, really cool. They have sign language that they have in common and they can communicate, and it's a really beautiful love story. And also the representation, you also have, I remember that it had some of like sign language that you can like learn, and that's just really interesting. I love to learn new stuff. It's really cool to have knowledge about that, and I just thought it was a really cute, quick, easy read about these two people that have this connection through that important stuff. And yeah, it was just a really, really cute and beautiful book about these two people kind of coming together. The last book I'm going to talk about is Misery by Stephen King. So in here we follow Paul. Paul is a famous writer who's written a lot of novels and is really famous for it. And in his latest novel, he's deciding to kill off the main character, whose name is Misery. And his biggest fan is not happy about that. So she decides to kidnap Paul. Basically what you follow here is when she's kidnapping him and how she tortures him and how she makes him write a new novel where Misery comes back to life, because this woman, his biggest fan, doesn't want Misery to be dead. She doesn't understand why he killed her off. She doesn't understand why he did do that. And so she's forcing him to write a new novel where she comes back to life, and she's torturing him. You get to follow them as she does gruesome things to him, and it's just really, really gruesome, and I didn't really understand it. But I heard someone say that Stephen King wrote this as kind of like his war with drugs, and that's really interesting. I can definitely see that, and I would love to like reread it, not yet because I just read it, and have that perspective, because I didn't know that going into this. But it was very, very gruesome, very, very odd and interesting, but just very gruesome. Just be aware of that, because you basically follow them as she tortures him. That's what this book is. Yeah, that's that. You know, it's Stephen King, so I wanted to read it. But yeah, that was it for my favorite 3-star reads that I've read recently. And yeah, if you read any of these, please let me know. If you're wanting to read any of these, please let me know. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys in one of my next videos. Bye!